Okay, thank you. I haven't got my script, so I'm going to put it on timer so that I don't step into other people's zone. This evening is titled Wild Ideas. And I was thinking, what wild ideas do I have? And then I realized that my book is a wild idea because it's a book using food stories to talk about economics. But it's not what you think. It's not how beef is destroying the Amazon forest and destroying the environment. It's not about how the supermarkets are squeezing suppliers and so on. My food stories are basically an inducement for people to read my books. Yeah, so I have a chapter that starts with chicken and ends with inequality. Another chapter that starts with, what's his name, Luis Suarez, the famous Uruguayan footballer, who despite his considerable football skills is mainly remembered for biting other players. And then ends with the problem with the international trading system. I have a chapter that is titled Carrot, that starts with carrot cake and ends with the problem with the patent system. It's really wild, yeah? So my food stories are a bit like the ice cream that some of your mothers might have offered to you to induce you to eat your greens, yeah? So it's a bribery, yeah? But it's a better bribery than your mom's ice cream because in my case, bribery comes first. Yeah? So actually, you don't have to read economics. Yeah? Just read the food stories. Yeah? They are fun enough, but my hope is that you read because it's interesting, and then by mistake, you end up reading about economics. Yeah? No, I'm doing this, partly because the food and economics are two of my greatest passions, but I'm doing this mainly because I want to bring economics to the widest possible audience. Because in a capitalist society, especially the kind of market-oriented one that we are living in now, unless all citizens know at least some economics, democracy is meaningless. Yeah, now everything has to justify its existence in terms of money. Yeah? So literary festivals, yeah? Teaching about ancient languages in universities, yeah? Preservation of cultural heritage. I've even met some British people who try to defend the British monarchy by arguing that it brings in tourist revenue. I'm not a monarchist, actually I'm an anti-monarchist, but what a demeaning, ridiculous way of trying to justify an institution that you think is at the foundation of your society. Yeah, yeah, so it's come to that. Yeah, so in that kind of world, if people don't know about economics, voting is like voting in X Factors. Yeah? I still remember back in 2000, a lot of Americans that voted for George W. Bush, arguing that he looks like a kind of guy that I could have a beer with. Yeah? Well, on that qualification, I could become the president of the United States because I don't mind having beer with anyone. Yeah? But what a way to voting in someone into the most powerful political office in the world. Yeah? So I really think that we all need to learn economics. Unfortunately, economics is dry, boring, uninteresting. Yeah? So I'm trying to perk it up with all these stories about food. And there are some wild stories there too. Did you know that carrot didn't used to be orange? Yeah? Carrot started as white. Yeah? And then in the 17th century, the Dutch invented orange carrot. Yeah? Did you know that the British Empire expanded as much as it did because they used lime, yeah, to give the vitamin C to the sailors to prevent them from getting scurvy? And this is why a lot of Americans call British people limeys. Yeah? That used to be the name of the British sailors, which then got transposed to all Brits. Yeah? So it's full of those stories, and yeah, I have to talk about grasshoppers because there's a chapter where I argue that the worst food taboo is the taboo against eating insects, when these same people would eat prawns and lobsters and so on, which are essentially the same things, yeah, all arthropods, yeah. So please eat some insects, yeah.